Hi, welcome back to the Writing Skill Seminar. It's me again. I hope you enjoyed watching part 2, Steps to Manuscript Ready for Submission. Now this is part 3 and I'm going to talk about how to write an abstract. Now this is the presentation outline. We're going to warm up by looking at samples of an abstract. Then we'll look at the definition. Now then the most important is that to look at the component of an abstract. We look at the structure of an abstract, the do's and don'ts, and then we look at the sample abstracts for review articles. Now let's look at the example of abstract. This is the abstract that I took from the journal entitled Materials and Design. Generally, this is a high-ranked journal, Q1, and at present the impact factor is more than 6. So why not we have a look for a while at the content of the abstract. Okay, just look at the first line and then the second sentence and then the third sentence, so on and so forth. Just look at the structure of that journal. Now the definition, if you look at the definition of abstracts, which I took this from the Cambridge Dictionary, abstract is an adjective. The first one is referring to painting, drawing or sculpture. It's about art. Now the second definition given there is more general, which is meaning the existing as an idea, feeling or quality, not as a material object. Now the third definition, abstract nouns, the most now it's saying that in writing it's about a few sentences that give the main idea in articles or a scientific paper. So this is the abstract that we are talking about. So what we're going to learn is to write this abstract. Now also based on the definition, right? Sometimes the abstract, it can be written for a thesis or it can be written for an article. Now if you look here on the right hand side here, this is about thesis. The definition of thesis means that a long piece of writing on a particular subject, especially one that is done for a higher college or university degree. A doctoral thesis means for a PhD. This is very related to you because I know that you are students who are currently pursuing masters or PhD. Now, thesis also formally means that the main idea or opinion or theory of a person, group or piece of writing or speech. So sometimes when we talk here in this presentation, when I say thesis, it's also mean the main idea. So it can be two. You can refer it to the thesis, the book, or your main idea. Now if you look here, the definition from Writing Center, this I took it from the https writingcenter.gmu.university. It's saying that an abstract is 150 to 100 to 500 words paragraph that provides reader with a quick overview of your essay or report and its organization. It should express your thesis, mean your central idea, right? And your key points. It should also suggest any implications or applications of research you discuss in the paper. Now, an abstract is a complete version if we took it from the Cambridge University Press, it's stating that the abstract is not the first paragraph of an article. An abstract is a complete version or form of your article. It means your article means is your journal article or conference article. So the abstract is actually a complete version or form of your article. It is the entire article, summarizing the epitomize, covering the major points, content and scope of your argument, the theoretical framework. So the most important thing also it says here that according to Cambridge University Press, the article should be stand alone. That means in generally your abstract should be conclusive. And when you read the abstract, it is stand. Now due to that, I can present you the content of an abstract. In general, in a paper, right, the section abstract, these are the things that you have: the introduction or background. You have to write the problem statement, the objective, the methodology, the results and discussion, and also the conclusion. Now that's optional. You may include in your abstract significance, future recommendations, and novelty of the work. You can highlight that too. Depends on the number of words, because some journals, they have a limitation on the number of words, right? So based on that, so in this case, if you're writing an abstract for a thesis, that it can be longer. Okay? It's normal to see that an abstract of a thesis in 1 page or about 500 words. Now let's see the components of an abstract, which I took it from the publisher, Emerald Insight. So in general, the abstract of a journal paper or a manuscript should have the purpose, the aims, should have the design methodology approach, where you explain the methodology or the approach. It should highlight the findings, and the abstract itself should have some originality or value, or it showing the originality and the value of that article. Now let's see more examples of abstracts. And now what we're going to do is that to observe the main component of an abstract, the structure of the sentences, and number of words. Okay, let's observe the first abstract. It's taken from Composite Part B. The title of the paper is a method to predict the ultimate tensile strength of 3D printing polyactic acid PLA materials with different printing orientations. Now you look at the abstract here. Basically, this abstract has 248 words. And you observe the first sentence, what is referring to? And then the second sentence. Could you find the purpose or the objective of the work? Are the methodologies described? How about the results and the discussion? And do you see any conclusion? Now this is another sample which I took it from the journal titled Materials and Design. This is a popular journal which very high impact factor, Q1. The number of words is 202 words. Well, I believe it's actually 200 words. It's just that when I cut it and I put it into words, it's counted as 202 words. Now, sometimes it's even 200 words, but the final version might be edited by the publisher. So it might end up with 202 words. Now, look here. Could you find the aims or objective or the purpose of the paper? You find the methodology. You find the findings here. And also, is it the originality, the value? Now, this is another sample which I took from Material Letters, Elsevier. Now, if you look here, this is basically the amount, the number of words is very, very limited. So it's very difficult now to put all the main components into this. It's very difficult to describe all the main components in this. So since there's a limitation in number of words, okay, but here still, do you see there's the purpose, the methodology, the findings, and how about the conclusion? This is another example from Gait and Posture. It's 132 words. Do you find the objectives or the purpose, the methodology, the findings? Observe this. Okay. This is another example of abstract. I took this from Archives of Budo. It's a journal name. The journal name, Archives of Budo. Now, in this case, it's quite clear. Okay? It has 284 words. And the abstract, the way it's published, the abstract is separated. You know, it's separate there. The background and the study aim. So you have one paragraph for background and study aim. There's also the title for materials and method. So you have one paragraph explaining the materials and methods. There's a topic for results. So you have one paragraph telling about the results and the conclusions. So in this form of abstract, I guess this is easier to write. Moreover, it has more words. It's not only 100 words. It has more words, close to 300 words. So if you have time, you can go to this journal and have a look at more references. Now, this is another journal, Skin Research and Technology. This is also a popular journal. So it's same like the previous journal, where it's written there. It's written there. It is given you the subtopics about background aims. So you just need to write there. Right? So it's clear here in such an abstract like this. It's clear to determine the background and aims, methods, the results, and the conclusion. And the word such as however. However. This is referring to the problem statement. Now you can also look at the second one, the example, the second example. So you have the one line about the introduction, and then you have the problem statement. Now even for the third example, you have the words however there, and the last example at the bottom there is writing that have not been satisfactorily simulated. This is the work related to simulation or computer modeling. So in general, we start an abstract with one line of introduction or background, and then it follows with a problem statement. Now this is some example how to write the objective or the aim for an abstract. If you look here, the first one is saying that this study highlights a new experimental method. So this study highlights, actually this is something referring to the aim or objective. The second example is showing that the present work aims to. Right? This is also referring, this phrase is referring to the objective or aim or the purpose of the study. Now in some cases where the number of slides is very limited, you may start the line, the first line, with the objective. And then this is one example, the in-plane shear compressive, and then it ends up with are investigated. So this is actually referring to the objective. Now the fourth example, this study investigates the failure mechanism. So this study investigates is also referring to the objective or the aim or the purpose of the study. And the fifth example were evaluated in the study. These two parentheses were evaluated in the studies. So this can also referring to purpose or objective of the study. For your information, all these sentences actually I took it from a real paper in a high impact journals. This is for your reference of how to write the sentence for the objective of it. Now in an abstract, we also describe the methodology. So the first one I took from a journal where they have the title and methods. So you can see that. Now what can you observe? Basically the sentence here, okay, they're using the passive form, not active form, passive form. Were performed, was measured, was simulated, is used, was repeated, were simultaneously recorded, were evaluated. Right. So for an abstract, right, we use it in a third-party language, and usually it's written in past tense. Why? Because these methods have been carried out. Okay? The work, the experimental work, have been done. Now these are the sample sentences which we use for results and discussion and to show the main findings. Okay, so you can see that the first one is written something that the MLS reproducibility was found to be statistically similar. This is a finding, was found to be, right? And then also is found to be different between the systems. Now for the second example, it's showing the results. Experimental results show that. Experimental results show that. Okay? And you can see the last sentence is saying that generalized relative root mean square error are close to zero. These are the findings, close to zero. Right? These are the findings. Okay? For example, for in the last example, the results showed that. So these are the results. The sentence showing the results. The results showed that. Okay. And then you can see that exhibited higher surface area. So these are the findings. These are the findings. Okay. So for result and discussion, these are the sample sentences that you can follow. Okay. For conclusion, these are the real conclusion which I extracted from the abstract in a high impact journals. You can see for the top one, example conclusion. This is an example from a journal where they put there, they clearly stated the subtopic conclusions. So these are the sample conclusions that you may follow. Right? For example, in the third one, you can see that, or the second example, you can see that, so the predictive capacity of the theoretical model is affirmed by the experimental results. And then he put the third example, thus it can be concluded that the addition of AP filler, okay, is doing something. Okay, the fourth one also, it starts with the word, it is concluded that the viscoelastic sphere model, okay, and another example, they put that it's like the conclusion, the excellent activity reveals that. So these are the samples of conclusion that you can observe, and you might make it as a reference in writing your. Up till now, we have observed a few abstracts from impactful journals. So now these slides, I'm going to recommend the number of sentences for each component of the abstract. Now, based on what we have seen just now from the abstract, we can see that generally the introduction or the background of the abstract is written in one sentence. The problem statement is summarized into one sentence, and the objective or the purpose of the study is summarized in one sentence. Now, for the methodology, it's quite difficult for you to summarize everything in one sentence. So that's why usually methodology will have 2 to 3 sentences, or if you need to write more, then you can write up to 4 sentences. And the results discussion should be the main important thing here. So yes, that's why it has more sentences, like 2 or 3 sentences here. And we can conclude the abstract using one sentence. Okay. However, sometimes the number of words, for an abstract is very limited. For example, if you have less than 150 words limited to write an abstract, then you can see that it's better to remove the introduction, background, and the problem statement, to omit that, and then start with the research objective. So it means that for a short abstract, or an abstract which has a very limited number, you can straight away start with the objective, followed by methodology, result discussion, and then you conclude that abstract. Now, this is the, on your right, this is a representation, a person, and representation of the structure of the abstract. So if you organize everything using the right number of sentences, you can have the person like number 1, which is normal. So if you're talking too much about the problem statements, okay, and then due to that, due to the limited number of words, you reduce the number of methodology, then your abstract will look like someone number 2, with a long neck. Okay. On the other hand, if you write too much about the methodology, and then just one short sentence about the result and discussion, you might have a person of number 3. And if this is quite many actually, because many of the students, they like to write a very long introduction. So maybe their person will look like number 4. The abstract will look like a person number 4. So based on 1, 2, 3, 4, now you know that why we need to organize the number of sentences for the abstract, so that your abstracts look nice, just like the person number. Okay. These are do's and don'ts. Okay. Usually, we will write the abstract after we have finished the article. Usually, what you can do is you can have the draft abstract earlier, but then you will finalize it after the article is ready. Now try to write a simple and accurate information in the abstract. Do not construct an ambiguous abstract, and then what you can do also, write in the third person present tense, and then it's always good for you to review and revise the abstract before you submit your article for review. And also, every time you revise the manuscript or the article, then make sure you also revise the abstract. This ensures the alignment of your abstract, or your abstract is aligned to the manuscript. Right? As I mentioned earlier, which is saying that the abstract should be standalone. So do not include citations or references into the abstract, because it will be confusing, because your abstract will be in front of your thesis or in front of the paper, and then suddenly your references is at the back. So as I mentioned earlier, your abstract should be standalone, so we do not have to cite or put reference there. And also, do not employ undefined abbreviation or acronym. So if you have not defined any words, like for example FEA or finite element simulation, for FEA, don't suddenly write the terms FEA in your abstract. This I took from the Journal Control Elsevier Practice. When you download the guide for authors, it's written there. This is example where I say that abstract, a concise and factual abstract is required. They give you the guide on how to write a good abstract. Okay, it's clearly here also written there. According to this journal, for this reason, references should be avoided. Right? Now, a paper or a manuscript, a review article or a review paper, review article, the purpose is quite different, or the structure is quite different from the normal research article. So here also I include a few examples of the abstract for review articles. What you need to do is just you observe the objective, the structure of sentences, and what are the differences of this abstract compared to a research article. So this is the first one. Okay. This is from the Journal of Energy Conversion and Management, a high-ranked journal. So you can see here from the abstract, the objective is not similar to those of research article, and the methodology also, right, is not similar to the research article. Okay. This is another example. It has a very short abstract. The title of the paper is Additive Manufacturing of Silicon Structures, a Review and Perspective. So you can read there, the abstract is very short. Okay, this is another abstract for a review article from the journal entitled Environment International. You can also see the objective here. You can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the 5th line is written there, in this paper, a review on the application of artificial neural network for the management of environmental orders is presented. So that is the objective here. And it's not similar to the objective of a research article. So us recap the presentation outline. So we warm up with samples of abstract, and then I have discussed the definition of abstracts. I also shown the component of an abstract, the structure, the do's and don'ts, and we also have observed some abstracts for review article. So why not we do some, okay? Now this is the learning activities where you need to observe and classify the sentences. This is a real abstract which I took it from this journal. These are sources there. So from these sentences, okay, can you observe and classify? Observe and classify these sentences. So referring to the abstract attached, classify these sentences, whether it's introduction, problem statement, objectives, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion. And also list the keywords that influence your decision. So for example, sentence number 1. Okay, what do you think? Is this sentence reflecting results and discussion, conclusion, methodology, objective? Okay, how about sentence number 2? How about number 3? For example, number 3. However, inter-day repeatability of the device is still not known. So obviously, we have the keywords there. The keyword is however. So this sentence usually refers to problem statement. And usually, after the problem statement, the sentences number 4. This study assess the intra and inter-day repeatability. So, what do you think? Sentence number 5. 40 subjects took part in the study. So, is this reflecting the sentence for objective, problem statement, or methodology? And what are the keywords there? Sentence number 6. The word were performed. The keyword were performed. The word were performed. What it will reflect. Okay. So this is quite easy because everything is following the flow of the structure. Now imagine if these sentences is rearranged without the numbers, right, and not in sequence. So you should be able to identify the sentence belongs to which classification. So by understanding that, then you can write a good abstract. So we come to the end of part 3, which is the topic about writing and abstract. Now next video will be part 4. So do not forget to watch how to write a research article. If you have further query, you may contact me using this information. So with that, I thank you. Thank you for watching. All the best.